Hi, I'm the Moorlander and this is Moorlander EDC. If you're after a belt that does more than just keep your pants up, I think Core Essentials really might have you covered here. Now, taking a step back, probably just over a year ago, Core Essentials got in touch and asked if I'd like to try out one of their belts. I'd heard nothing but good things about their company, and the fact that they reached out for me again, I was incredibly humbled at the time. I said, yes, I'd love to test out one of your belts. In fact, I'd be honored to test out one of your belts. And this was the original one that they sent me. So this is part of their EDC kind of range. This is just your everyday style belt, but hopefully what you'll notice is it keeps a lot of the features that you'd expect from a duty belt or a gun belt. That is in the fact that this is incredibly rigid and incredibly tough. So the way that this is constructed, just to give you a bit of a recap, but I'll leave a link here wherever the link goes so that you can see that original piece of content. So this is constructed from two pieces of whole grain leather, and what they do is, in between those two pieces of leather, you then have stitched this core. What the core does is just allows this to be super tough. That then means, especially from the gun side, is that if you have something on your hip, it stops that flex. There's nothing worse than having to draw out a firearm and you just end up pulling your belt with it. That's what this was designed around, those kind of duty belts. But with this being their EDC friendly or their EDC kind of version, it's that kind of crossover, so that you've got a belt that you can wear to the office, you can wear to work, and I have worn this for the last 12 months. But if you wanted to take this out and do something a little bit more hardcore with it, you certainly can do. Now, over the last 12 months plus, this has been my skirmishing belt. I've worn this every single time I've gone out and done some skirmishing for the day, and it's been an absolute champion. Keeps my trousers up. Anything that I have attached to this stays planted in the position, so that muscle memory, I know exactly where it is and that I need to go to. Now, one of the huge selling points around these belts is really down to the buckle system. So if I undo this, rather than having a traditional buckle that has a buckle and a tang that then passes through holes in the leather that's on your belt, or whatever the belt is, or one of those other ones that's just like a nylon style webbing belt that just pushes through, it either loops backwards and goes back on itself and the friction holds it into place, or it pushes through and then has one of those cams that with friction and pressure stops it from opening, which you then have to just kind of, slide backwards so that you can then get it off. The way that this works is on the inside, so remember that core, that rigid core section that I was on about. So in here it has this length of teeth, and then on the buckle, if you can actually, if I put it this way, here you can just see that little, that extra little tooth that's on the inside here. So as this passes along, and hopefully you'll be able to, dropped it, hopefully you'll be able to hear this. In fact, can you hear that? Watch this little lever here, you'll be able to see that it just bounces up and down as this passes through. So this is how you get it on, and this is bomber, honestly. So I've had quite a bit of weight on here. You can put a lot of weight onto this and it will stop it from pulling open. And this isn't metal, this is made from a resin plastic style material. All of the teeth on here are about 5mm apart, which is great if you're the type of person that struggles to get that belt, especially when there's holes in there, getting it in the right position, it's naff. Or if you want to then rely on one of those nylon ones, then they're just not as rigid as they need to be. This is great. Extra little tip. You're out. You've just finished Christmas lunch, maybe it's your birthday, you've been for a nice steak meal, you sat there and you're thinking, I'm not keeping the fat in today. Convert you're sat there and you just think, I just need to loosen my belt. All you have to do is press this and it just opens. It's amazing. Never have to worry about going to the bathroom, to the toilet or whatever to readjust your belt. You can do it when there's people there. No one will even know. So, I mean, getting away from that. If you're after a belt for Thanksgiving, if you're after a belt for occasions, maybe you're just the type of person that likes to either loosen or tighten the belt up through the day. I'm overgilding the lily on this, but it does a very good job of that. Then on here as well, you have an extra little piece of mil-spec elastic for your band so that you can pass it through there. Now, as far as the lengths on these are concerned, I currently have one on at the moment. When they come to you, let me just reach down for a second. So this is how they come. They were really good, and they provided me with a few additional ones. This is another EDC version. So when this comes in the box, you do get a few things in here. So you get your setup manual. Now, there is a part of this that you do have to do yourself, mainly because it is a it's a one size fits all. It's the way that it's designed. There's a couple of additional things that they've added in here, and these are great. I now have a couple of these, but I have one of these hanging up in my wardrobe full time, and that's because, so rather than having one of those belt loops, excuse me for a second, all you have to do is, so where this is hanging up in your wardrobe, when you've got a belt that you're not using, you just do that the wrong way. You just push it onto there and it holds your belt when you need to take your belt off. You press the same lever that then releases it and you can take that off. These are additional. I don't think they're particularly expensive. I'll leave a price below, but they you know, they were good enough to keep having to go down for a second. Sorry about that. So yes, there are additional items. There is another additional item that's in here. So this is a longer piece of that elastic. If you are appendix carrying, or if you want to keep this nicer for longer, you can pick one of these up. So this is an additional item, but what you can do is you can then pass that through there. So if it's a hard wear area that you know that you've got a holster that you're taking on and off, maybe when you get home you take it off and you put it in the hallway, wherever it is that you keep things. This will just keep your belt newer for a little bit longer. Did I mention, so as far as the belts are concerned, so the versions that I have here, these all have, so you have that dual layer of leather with that core kind of through the middle, and then they all have like a Cordura style nylon over the top. There are hundreds of different combinations as far as different colours are concerned, different camos, but they also have a range that's just made from just pure leather. I think that guard there that we looked at, so if you're after something that's again just a nice leather that you just want to keep looking nicer for longer, that's what that there is perfectly for. But when it all comes to you, essentially there are these two parts. So it comes with some screws, which you will definitely need. You also have your buckle. So when you're choosing these, there are also a lot. I was going to say hundreds. I don't think they're necessarily hundreds, but there really are a lot of buckles. Now these are steel buckles and are very weighty. When you get this, it's just quality. And there are different versions as well. So this one is one of their powder coated versions. I thought the one that I got on my waist wasn't, but there is also this version that we have here, which is just this really nice kind of brushed metal, which again is really nice. So depending on your style, how you want to use it, then you get that as well. And then you get the belt, and it comes through in a sleeve like this, which you just have to take off. Don't worry, I will pick that up. And then here is your belt. So along the inside of your belt, I'll show you a photo of this. It goes up to 54 inches. That is the full length of this, 54 inches. And then all you have to do is decide, you know, so I'm a 36-inch waist. you scroll down the length of the belt to where it says 36 inches, and then you add 4 inches. Now this is the important part. Don't cut the belt where it says 36, or wherever, if you're a 32-inch waist, don't cut the belt at 32. Add 3 to 4 inches. Now what I've done is, the belt that I'm wearing here today, I've done with 3 inches, and it fits just right. If you don't like a lot of extra beltage, if that's a word, the one that I have here today has just got an extra 3 inches. It goes through the loop that I have. It does come with one of these loops, and it just fits over where my first belt loop is. This version that I have here, I've actually done a little bit further, so I've added 5 inches to this. But what I find with this one is, I've done it the right way around, sorry, it passes through, and then I can then also, you get your little kind of belt stay, it will then pass through that first belt loop. Completely down to you. There's no right, there's no wrong, but what I will say is, if you're a 33-inch waist, don't cut it at 33 inches. You need to add, and it does say this in the instructions when you get it, you need to add at least 3 to 4 inches to that so that it will pass through. When you've cut it to the right length, that's where your screws come in. So what happens is, on the inside here, this then pushes into here. If I just get that in. Now the screws are already in here at this moment in time, so you would need to release these screws. They give you some extra ones just in case you do lose them. So you unscrew those, put it in, and then you have one of these little kind of bite levers on the inside here. You can see all of those teeth. You push it in, clasp it shut, tighten then your screws that are in there, which will then bind the buckle and your belt together, and you have this pretty much indestructible belt. Now I say pretty much indestructible, so I will definitely say over the last 12 months I've put my original belt, which I'm going to have to pick up again, I've put this through its paces. I generally have put it through its paces, probably more so than any other belt that I have, mainly because this is the belt that I've had when I've been out skirmishing. You've probably all noticed this when I'm out and I make pants content. Generally tend to be wearing this belt. In the time, again, that I've owned it, there is a slight dip here at the back. But compared to a lot of other belts that I've had, this is nothing. The only other possible wear and tear, now on the back here, the leather is in exactly the same condition as it is when I bought it. It really is, just like all of these others, it looks brand new. On the outside, there is a little bit of wearing on the nylon on the outside. In the grand scheme of things, it's nothing. This belt really is bomber. Now, I did mention at the beginning of this, so this is the EDC version, so this is a 1.5 inch belt. But they do also have, and this is the one that I'm wearing here, and here, they also have a large version, so this is called their Garrison Belt. This is definitely the belt that you will be seeing more of when I'm making pants content and when I'm out skirmishing, because so this widens it, going from a 1.5 inch, this goes up to 1.75 inches. It's not nearly 2 inches. I think the main reason for that is that the vast majority of these tactical style pants, it's just not going to fit in at the end of the day. 1.75 is the kind of standard that you'll get for military style pants. But what it means is when it fits into there, when it's in those belt loops, there is little to no wiggle room, which is great. When you're running, when you're bending down, when you're lifting, whatever it is that you're doing, the material, there's just no movement in there. So when it is against you, there's no wear and tear against your skin. I suppose wear against your skin. And it just sits perfectly within that waistband all around you. The construction's exactly the same. So it's built, let's open this back up again. It's built in exactly the same manner. So you have those 2 pieces of whole grain leather that are I guess they're glued together to start off with, but it's not just held in place by that glue. On the inside here, hopefully you'll be able to see that there are 4 lines of stitching, 2 through the middle and then 2 through the outside. That's mainly to allow this tooth section through here so that it will keep that in place. Works in exactly the same way. You get this, it's 50 inches plus, you take your waist measurement, you add 3 or 4 inches to it. This was the one that I went 5 inches, just randomly, because I thought, why the hell not? I wanted to see what the difference was between having this on a shorter or a longer. So the one that I have here, as I mentioned, just where my first belt loop is that's on my pants, it stops just on top of that. It doesn't, I mean, I could put it underneath it, but it just stops perfectly there. Whereas this version, when I have this on, it will pass underneath that. The main reason for these Garrison belts is, and that extra bit on here is for your CCW. So you can get the same for these. You can also get one of those extended pieces of elastic that will go through here so that you can appendix carry, but you can appendix carry perfectly with these if it's something that you're keeping on the outside of your pants. If it is something that you're doing drills, you're doing training with, these are absolutely amazing belts for that. Now, depending on the type, I'm doing a lot of walking off camera today, so I will apologise about that. Generally there's not as many tables out in the woods that I can just kind of put stuff on. So of course, depending on the type of holster that you have, this one is actually, I probably brought out the wrong one, mainly because this doesn't have a pass-through. This is just designed for your Marley webbing. But of course, if it was one of the ones that you could have your, that was close. If it was one of those that has the pass-through, even without the pass-through on this, it holds it perfectly in place. Being able to withdraw a pistol from this, there's little to no movement in there. Or if you're going a little bit kind of next level, so this, which hopefully you've probably seen in got some bird poo on it already. This is a holster from a UK company called Deadly Customs, and it's one of the nicest holsters that I've ever come across. So the connector on here, you quite easily. In fact, I think this is from a US company, isn't it? It's from, yeah, Safari Lani, which I think, yeah, are out of Ontario, California, USA. Very, very nice piece of kit. But yes, yeah, this will pass through here and through that side. Very easy to set up when you're not doing it like this or when you've got it on your pants. Plus with the leg loop on there, it's just, yeah. Haven't had any chance to do some skirmishing with this yet, but looking forward to getting this on here so that I can see exactly how well this rig sets up. Definitely recommend checking out Deadly Customs. I was absolutely blown away when they sent this to me. The way that this one works is, so this works with the PL3 light rather than the Kydex sheath holding the pistol in place. It just connects to the light, so there's over 100 different pistols that you can put into this. Oh, wasn't pulling it up, but yes, plenty of options for how you want to set this up. Now, during the day-to-day, obviously I'm not going to be walking around the office wearing a holster. I'd probably get some looks, but I think the vast majority of people are just like, oh, it's Randy, he's just a bit of a weirdo sometimes. Especially here in the UK, wherever you are in the rest of the world might not necessarily be an issue, but as far as incredibly well made in the USA products, I will highly, and I will continue to highly recommend Core Essentials and their belts, whether you're going for the thinner 1.5 inch belt, which is kind of their EDC everyday style. Even wearing these, so the Garrison's belts that I've been, using, I've had these now for a couple of months. I've been testing these out, going to work in these. They're just great. They fit on and they fit your pants on there really well. Extra little tip. Now, I know I've given a couple of tips with this today. So the first one being that if you want to you know, release your belt whilst you're out and you've had quite a bit of food in you. And another great tip with this is, because it is like a rigid hula hoop, look, there's very little give in here. Ever had one of those situations where you've been sat on the toilet for a little bit too long and your legs have gone numb? You've got to pull everything up and blah blah blah. Don't undo your belt all the way, especially if you do this to about 4 or 5 inches. And it just pulls down. It's like a clown lifting up his trousers. Bosh, tactical reload. You can get to the front door because the pizza's just arrived, even though your legs are slightly numb, and not have to worry too much about lifting your belt up. I don't think, in fact, no, I was going to say I don't think Core Essentials built that into the manufacturing process or the idea behind it, but I'd like to think that being fellas that have sat too long on the toilet when the legs get numb, it was all part of the master plan. It was all part of how one of these belts should work. I've rambled a little bit too much on there, especially about toilet activities, but yes, highly recommend Core Essentials and their belts. I will leave their links below so that you can see more from them and some of their other products. These were sent to me free of charge. The guys that I've spoke to there, they're just sound guys, and they said my first piece of hey, if you hate it, just tell people that you hate it, but they pretty much knew that they were onto a winner here with this. So I will also leave some of my social media links below, whether that's here on Moorlander EDC or on my sister channel Moorlander Tactical. But for now, as always, stay safe, stay Moorlander, and stay EDC. My head's getting bit to buggery by these bloody flies. I got bit last week. In fact, you can look, it's still there. Oh, it swelled up like a bloody orange. It wasn't as big as an orange, maybe a satsuma, but I was going to say golf ball. I don't know where I went with orange, but yeah, it's huge. Oh, shits. Anyway, where were we? Belts, of course. Right, let's do. Oh, pull my pants out my ass. I seem to be getting a lot of wedgie today. Right, that's more than you needed to know. It's like you've been sat on the throne for way too long. Your legs have gone numb. You're halfway through a Sudoku, and the mailman arrives. It's how it works. If you're waiting for a parcel, there's only a few things that you can do to make sure that the parcel will arrive. First one is go to the toilet. The second one is probably to crack one off. No, I can't leave this in, can I? I can't be talking about that. Not on YouTube's, the way that they're going nowadays. Maybe crack one off means something different in there. Maybe it means to fart. I don't know. You know what it's like, you've been sat on the throne way too long doing a Richard III and the front doorbell goes and you're like, I'm the only one in the house. I've got to do some sort of quick movement here to just get out. Rapid deployment from the latrine zone? No, that doesn't sound right, does it? Anyway, you've got to pull your Allen Wickers up fast enough so that you can get to the door, because I don't know where I was going to go with that. Where was I going to go with that? I don't know. Oh, I am recording. Of course I'm recording. I'm not just studying waffling bollocks to you to like nobody in the middle of the woods. Well, kind of am. Anyway, where was I? Well, I hope you're all having a good day. I don't know what day it is. Well, I know what day it is today. It's Saturday. But I don't know when this is going to be going out. But whenever it does go out, wherever you are in the world, I hope you are all well. I hope you are all safe. I hope you are all well fed and highly hydrated. That's what I meant to say. Yeah. Have a good day, fellow Moorlanders. Love and kisses. That's a big fly. Go on then. See you soon.